Hello again. Recently, a new episode dropped from the series Serverblight. It was made by two very talented people, Horrifying and possibly Lino. Here's a little reminder of what even Serverblight is. It's a series with each episode telling the story of a victim who encountered Serverblight. Serverblight is a sentient entity who grows by eating his victims. Most of the people he observes are innocent players trying to play the game, but they unfortunately end up meeting him. He can also travel from server to server, so you are never safe playing this game. The only way to get rid of him is to either kill mine yourself or jump off a cliff. Trying to leave or fight him won't work. And you might be asking yourself, what happens if this entity gets you? Well, that's what we're gonna see in this episode, but I must warn you, this is pretty graphic. To start off, the title of this video is Asimilation, which is basically the process of taking in and fully understanding an idea. So we can assume that this video is going to give us even more information on this Serverblight. The video starts by showing us a match of Dust Bowl, and it looks like the red team is doing a pretty good job at defending, since the blue team is still stuck in spawn trying to capture the point. After a while, we can get a look into the POV of a spy. Then we get introduced to the protagonist of this video, Cyrenix, which by the way is played by Durfish06. He sits in this dark room and starts playing TF2 on his laptop. He decides to take spy and flank the enemy team. On his way there, we can see people talking in the chat. These players aren't part of Serverblight, which confirms that they are in fact real players and not decoys made by Serverblight. Once Cyrenix gets next to the point, he gets killed by a demo man. Right after that, he writes in the chat, quote, "This is weird," which is pretty random, but you might wanna remember that for later. Cyrenix goes back right next to the point using his invis watch. When he turns around, he suddenly sees a sniper looking at him, which is normally impossible when a spy is cloaked. Cyrenix is a bit weirded out by what is happening, but the sniper doesn't seem to react at all. He gets out of his way and the sniper keeps playing normally. But our main character keeps looking behind him. It's almost like he's scared of something or someone watching him. And the place he is playing TF2 in is pretty weird. Normally people would be playing in their bedroom or living room, but the place he is in right now looks pretty isolated and abandoned. We could assume that he is hiding for some kind of reason. Or perhaps I might be wrong and this is just how houses look in Germany. Keeps playing normally and even gets a frag. But when he looks down to see his keyboard, instead of seeing his hands, he's looking at the hands of the class he's playing. Confused, he starts talking to himself, but when he does that, the spy also moves his lips, and it almost looks like he's starting to incarnate the spy. Before he gets the time to process anything, he feels the hand of a heavy touching his legs. Then suddenly a soldier looks at him and disappears around the corner. Cyrenix is obviously scared now. He writes about his confusion in the chat. And the thing to note here is that the spy expresses the same feelings as Cyrenix, which could mean that they are being slowly but surely connected into each other. When Cyrenix goes back to the point, he can see every single member of the server staring at him. And that is probably the moment Serverblight joined the server. Unlike in the previous animation, the players are constantly repeating the same quotes in the chat. A theory to why this is happening might be because Serverblight doesn't know how to communicate yet. Cyrenix is clearly panicking now. He tries escaping by going to the second point, but there he meets a corrupted soldier. He manages to hide somewhere underground. There he takes the time to leave the server. But unfortunately, once the entity joins the server, you cannot leave. The only way to escape might be to kill himself. But Dustball doesn't have any clip for him to oof himself, so that makes it practically impossible. Cyrenix is now in the game. He gets some really trippy visions which really remind me of MSS Blue. Eventually he gets an idea. He decides to put an end to the match by capturing the point. But unfortunately for him, the entity was already 2 steps ahead. Cyrenix's soul has completely been absorbed by the entity. It's scary how easy it is for Serverblight to get you, especially if you're playing on maps like Dust Bowl or 2-4. Conclusion of this video, do not play on maps with no cliffs. Also, I couldn't help but notice that this video has been inspired by the heavy creepypasta. The story is pretty much the same, and I wouldn't be surprised if the creators got inspired out of it. This animation also was inspired of an animation called Hoovy Dundee, and I'll probably talk about it next video. I'm looking forward to cover the next Serverblight, but until then, I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye.